Ahoy! And welcome to the Boating Hour with Captain Rick. The Boating Hour brings you the latest and greatest essential information about everything that sails, floats, or motors upon the high seas of Southern California. From landlubbers to old salts, there'll be something for everyone. So climb aboard and get ready to sail with Captain Rick.
Ahoy out there, and welcome to the Boating Hour. I'm Captain Rick, and I want to thank you for joining us here on AM 870. We're here every Saturday at 4 p.m., and please be sure to visit us on the web at theboatinghour.com. And now on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble, The Boating Hour with Captain Rick. Thanks to our sponsors for our show today. For a healthy gut, the best probiotic on the market, Livia One Probiotics, natural, organic, and allergen-free. And Raycom Radios, reliable two-way radio communications, commercial radio throughout Southern California without drop zones and all the inherent problems of batteries going dead on your mobile phone and that kind of stuff. Today we got a special guest, Faye Johnson from Hawthorne. I want to welcome you to the Boating Hour with Captain Rick. Thanks for joining me.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
It's really exciting. You know, all month long, last month, I featured Catalina. I had all kinds of people from Catalina on the show. We had a couple harbor masters. We had the president and CEO of the Film Liaison Visitor, the tourism board, and one of the authorities of Catalina Island from Love Catalina. And it was a wonderful month, and I got a lot of emails. I've got a couple people that want me to answer some more questions. So if you're out there, I'll get to that the next couple of shows. So I want to thank you for listening. Catalina's one of my favorite spots. Faye, have you ever gone to Catalina? What do I got to do to get you over there?
Oh, just name the time. I'll be there.
All right.
I've not had a chance to go yet.
Oh, you're kidding. Well, I tell you.
No.
Catalina is an amazing place. A lot of ways to get there, by ferry, by boat, by sailboat. And you know, the backside of Catalina, which is really exciting, it's Farnsworth Bank is one of the top 10 dive spots in the world. People come from all over the world just to dive in the backside of Catalina. I found that out with one of my guests on my show because I'm a snorkeler, but I'm not a diver. Did you know that about Catalina?
No, I didn't.
Well, I tell you something. Let me tell you about Hawthorne. I consider Hawthorne as ocean adjacent. So you're running for that's what I could. You know, Hawthorne used to have some boat builders, and you have a lot of commercial business out there. Of course, you have SpaceX, but I want to announce that I'm really excited about being a fan of yours, and you're running for city council in Hawthorne. I want to talk about your candidacy and what you expect to come in Hawthorne, because I'm hoping to move to Hawthorne, and I'm looking for some commercial property there so that I can have some boats there. And I'd like to talk maybe about SpaceX. I'd like to even get Elon Musk on the show and talk about his ventures. I'm not even sure if he's a boater. But let's talk about your campaign. How do people find you? What's your campaign website, and what's your slogan?
I am running for city council, and my website is neighbors4Faye.com. So neighborsforfaye.com. And basically what we're looking for in our city is to bring new business. We definitely want to grow. We want to grow SpaceX. I know SpaceX is moving their headquarters, but they're not moving everything. And we would like to develop a museum in our city to bring more attraction to our city. We're getting ready for the Olympics and the Super Bowl, and so we're cleaning up our streets, reducing crime, and bringing more business to the city.
Well, let me tell you, it's. I usually stay away from politics. I have had a few candidates on, but it's been related to in boating cities. And I'll tell you the intrigue that I have, why I'm so excited to have you on the show. I featured the Armed Forces Parade. I'm part of the Coast Guard Auxiliary. Last year, or the year before last, with Coast Guard was the featured branch. This year, the featured branch was Space Force. And I had Colonel Walsh on the show, the Space Force base commander, right there in El Segundo. And then I went to Memorial Day. I was at both Redondo Beach, which was in the afternoon at the Elks Club, and the base commander from the Coast Guard, she was the featured speaker, so I'll talk about that in a bit. But when I went to Hawthorne Memorial, I saw you, and I saw all the vets, all the excited people about you, left, right, and center. There were Democrats and Republicans. I know you got an endorsement and applause when Maxine Waters, introduced you, and all the stuff you've done with the vets. So that's what I'm interested in, because I like to talk about the vets. I like to give them all the press and the due that they deserve. So let's talk about what you've done in the city of Hawthorne with the vets and the positions you've held.
Well, as Veterans Affairs Commissioner, I was the chair of the Hawthorne's Veterans Affairs Commission. And believe it or not, Hawthorne is one of the only cities in the South Bay that has a Veterans Affairs Commission. And we're very proud of that. And so at Memorial Day, and what a lot of people don't realize, the difference between Veterans Day and Memorial Day, they think they're the same, but they're not. Veterans is to, celebrate all of our men and women who have been in the military, but Memorial Day is for those who have given the ultimate sacrifice. And so on Memorial Day, we honor them, and we go to the Memorial Center here in Hawthorne, and we do a whole entire celebration. And Maxine Waters she's very pro-veteran, and she's always come out for our veteran events. And yeah, she was there, and as she is every year. And we're able to honor the military men and women who died for their service. And so that's where I was able to see you, and it was great seeing you there. And we do many events in Hawthorne for our veterans. And one of the things that we most recently have done is we started a military banner recognition program for our military men and women here in Hawthorne. So if you live in Hawthorne, have family members in Hawthorne, work in Hawthorne, or you have a business in Hawthorne, and you are in the military or we're in the military, we honor you with a military banner. And so you'll see those running down Hawthorne Boulevard. They're very beautiful, very professionally designed by Insight Graphics here locally in Hawthorne. So we're doing a lot of things for our veterans, and we try to work with surrounding communities to do things together.
Yeah, it really was exciting. And I'll tell you what brought tears to my eyes when I was at the memorial in Hawthorne, and I have a lot of friends that live there, is I saw Democrats and Republicans smiling, standing next to each other. It wasn't a political event. Everybody honored the vets. We had people from the Elks Club, from the vets, and just a whole group of people, some people in uniform. And I tell you, I wish society was like that year-round. Of course it's not. But Memorial Day, I saw people come together. And what you've done is amazing. I've seen the banners. Is this going to be a prototype for other cities to come? Because I know it's a very rare for a city to have a Veterans Affairs Commission.
We're hoping to be the benchmark for cities in the surrounding areas to bring in our veterans into the communities and because they have not that they're special needs, but their needs are different than the average citizen, and those need to be taken care of and addressed in each city. They're a part of our home list. The Veterans Administration has programs that can help us, and local community nonprofits have programs that can help us. And it's just a matter of us working together and benchmarking off of each other. And we do hope to be that, shining city on the hill that people look at and want to benchmark. I know they do with our police officers in the area too, because our police force is the one that developed Coffee with a Cop. And so it's an entire program that other cities have come here to learn, and our police force actually goes across the nation developing that program for other police departments too. So Hawthorne is a wonderful city. It's a hidden gem that most people don't know about.
That is exciting. I'd like to get involved in that. I've never heard of that program. I covered, the Armed Forces Parade, which is an event that's going on for 60 years now in Torrance. As a little kid, I actually marched in it as a scout. And I had the Colonel Walsh, who's the base commander in El Segundo. She was on my show. And you are an Air Force vet. Let's talk about your career real quickly, because you are the United States Air Force. How did you get in the Air Force? What did you do in the Air Force? And where were you stationed?
Well, part of my history is I grew up in South Carolina, born and raised there, stayed there most of my youth, but I was in foster care, in and out of foster care. And anybody that has any knowledge or experience with foster care a lot of times youth go astray once they've aged out of the system. I was fortunate enough to kind of have, want to get out of the system and want to do better and want to live a better life. And so I joined the Air Force. And so the Air Force took me out of South Carolina to Texas and then different bases throughout the United States. And I actually got to what they called TDY over to France and Germany and Italy and places like that. And it just changed my life. And I did a little over 2 decades in the Air Force. I'm retired. And I've just had a desire to want to help veterans and help the underserved in our community, in my community, no matter where I'm at. And I, even as of today, I still work for the Veterans Affairs Hospital, the VHA.
Oh, no kidding. Well, that is exciting. So you've traveled all over. So you were never at the LA base. Do you go to the? Are there any functions for vets? Is there any reason for you to go to the current base right now?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The base is an integral part of my life. I'm over there at least 2 or 3 times a week. They have the commissary benefits. They have the benefits of the BX that's there, the base exchange. So I do the majority of my shopping over there because things are less expensive. They keep the prices down on items for the military. And they have a grill over there, and they have a gym over there. And the base is a very lively base.
Yeah, I've been on base. Now, I'm with the Coast Guard Auxiliary. We're the civilian volunteers that assist the Coast Guard. And a little secret is that in your commissary, they have the same, a lot of coasties go over there and get their uniforms. Some of the uniforms are very similar or the exact same as the Air Force. So the shirts that you'll see, what they call tropical blues, people can go over there and you can get shoes and stuff. So I've been there, and of course I was featuring the Space Force because they were the featured branch at the Armed Forces Parade. So I had a couple reasons to be there. It is a lively place. I understand it's about now the Space Force is 50% civilian. I'm not sure about the Air Force, but it is a lively base. Can you get me up on one of the fighter planes? Are you a pilot?
Me first.
Okay. Well, if you can do that, I'm really excited. I love the Air Force. As a kid, I used to build the models and hang them up. I think all of us scouts did that. Well, if you're just joining us now, you're listening to the Boating Hour. I'm Captain Rick. I'm here every Saturday at 4 p.m. Please be sure to visit us on the web at theboatinghour.com, where you can listen to our podcast and link to our many guests. And for a healthy gut, the best probiotic that exists is Livia One, natural, organic, and allergen-free. And, of course, Raycom radios at land or at sea. So if you have a regatta, a business event, or you need reliable two-way radio communication with no drop or dead zones, get a hold of Raycom Radio. Just give an email to Captain Rick at theboatinghour.com. Our guest today is Faye Johnson. You're running for City Council in Hawthorne. Let's plug your website, how people find out where they can see you in town.
Neighbors for the number 4 Faye.com. So neighborsforfaye.com. And on there are my events. We have events popping up continuously. So if you want to know where I'm at, just go onto the website neighborsforfaye.com and click on events, and you'll see where I'm at. And we have meet and greets every week that we're going out into the community. We're doing a lot of events with the mayor and the city treasurer. The mayor is running for re-election, Alex Vargas, and our city treasurer is actually running for a city council seat, Marie Poindexter. So we're running as a team because we are like-minded and we want to see the city move forward. So, and bring more attractions to the city and more businesses and help our residents live a better life in our city.
Yeah, I like your slogan. I'm looking at your card here. It's got a beautiful picture. Looks like a modeling picture. You're a beautiful lady. And it says public service, not self-service. And I like that slogan. And you're a mom and a grandma. So let's talk about your family a little bit. So you've got a lot to balance. So you're working in the Air Force and you're running for council. What kind of job is council? I'm not too familiar what even a city council person does, but that's got to be a full-time job with people calling and complaining and people trying to build things. So what goes on in city council? What does city council person do?
Actually, for Hawthorne, it is not a full-time job, and we don't want our city council to have a full-time job. of doing the city. It's very part-time. It's on a stipend basis, not a full-time salaried basis. And the city would like to keep it that way. We don't want when we have our elections that people have to give up their career and their life to come serve the community. The way that it's set up now, it's totally part-time. So you can still have a life. You can still have your career. You don't have to be unemployed to run for city council. And that's a benefit to us because we rely heavily on our employees within our city. We have a great staff. We have a great police force. And our staff members and our city manager, Vaughn Norris, is our city manager. He does a really great job in managing the city, doing what city council, the vision, playing out the vision of our city council. So we run the direction of the city. We create where our vision is, what we want to accomplish. But our city staff does that job, and we have a great, great staff in the city of Hawthorne. We have a great city manager. We have a great police force. Our chief, Tamatami, over at the police force, works hand in hand with the community to make the community better.
Well, I'll tell you what I'd like to do. I want to talk about the schools a little. I've worked a lot with after-school programs in both in sports, field sports, and in sailing. And I'd like to put out and get some excitement in the high schools and the junior high schools and the grammar schools to get some of the Hawthorne kids to the marina, to paddleboard, to kayak, to learn how to sail, to get hooked with some of the fishermen. But what's happening right now is as Inglewood is the explosive growth at Inglewood, you're going to start getting some of the Inglewood students, like a lot of them that are going to flood your schools. So are you going to be building more schools? How are you going to handle all the Inglewood kids coming into the Hawthorne schools?
Well, we are working with hand in hand with the school board, the president of the school board, Gloria Ramos, and we're developing that relationship even more considering the issues that we're having to deal with in our city. And one of those issues is basically the schools that will be, the children that will be coming from the schools in Inglewood. And so we're developing that, and we're open to all the programs. I would love to be able to get a program, the boating program, apprenticeship, and things like that, to get the kids used to the water. It's sad that it lives in our backyard and we don't even take advantage of it. So yes, we'd definitely be open to that. I can put you in contact with the right people. And if elected, especially if Mayor Vargas and Marie Poindexter and myself are elected, we're all on the same team, and we'd be able to get that done.
That was one of the wonderful things when I grew up, and I think I grew up right around the Civil War era, so it was a long time ago. Maybe not that long ago. But I had a lot of boating programs, and everybody I knew in all the schools, people would come to the schools and get us out. I think I even had a tour of the I don't know what I don't remember which was the cutter that was in Marina Del Rey at that time, but right now it's the Halibut. The Halibut's a cutter. And they would love to see kids come through if they're not out, on duty. And all the yacht clubs have programs for kids. And Hawthorne, it's a bike ride away. It's a bus ride away. It's so close.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd love to get involved with the schools. And I know everybody I know in the sailing community. Sailing community is a really welcoming community. If people come and have never been on a boat and walk up to a club, you've got a lot of people that would say, "Come with me." And I would love to see the kids. I would love to see the kids, flood the marina. You've got two marinas. You've got south of you, you've got Redondo Beach, and a little bit west and north is Marina Del Rey. So you've got Hawthorne is right in between two incredible marinas with a lot of activities. So I would definitely like to do that. I'd like to make that an important part of the boating hour, is to get kids that would go to the marina. A lot of stuff that goes on. So that's really exciting. God, this is so exciting. Plug your website one more time.
Neighbors for the number 4 Faye.com. So neighborsforfaye.com.
Okay, that's it. Let me ask you one question real quick. Actually, I don't know if you're going to get upset at me asking you this, but what stimulated you? What was the catalyst that said you want to run for city council? How did that happen?
Well, for so long I voted, but I was not involved in the process. I educated myself about who to vote for, what to vote for. but I never was involved in the process until recently when I started seeing things happen in the community. And I'm like, my military brain kicks in, and I've always been told you either handle your business or somebody else will handle it for you. And I was in the middle of it being handled for me, and I didn't like it. And so I'm like, well, somebody needs to. I'm always looking around, hoping somebody steps up. But after a while, you got to either put up or shut up. And those who know me know I can't shut up. So I had to put up and decided to run for council because I felt like we needed more professionalism on the council. We needed to have a more humble council so that they actually listen to the residents instead of talking down to them and demeaning them and threatening to beat them up because they didn't like the response they were getting from the community when they got pushback on certain things like charter city. We didn't want a charter city. The community did not want it. People in city council did because they wanted that full-time job. So again, I'm here to problem solve, not to run to increase council's pay, perks, or pensions. And that's what, some of the things that I'm running against right now and the people that I'm running against right now, that's what they want. They want that full-time job so they can quit their job. And, it's like this is not a full-time job, and the city does not want it. So we're gonna stand on the side of the residents. It's Hawthorne first, and we're going to do what's best for the city of Hawthorne.
What is a chartered city? Is that different than an incorporated or unincorporated city? And what does it do? Do they want to join in with the LA County? Explain what a charter, what they're, because it does. I like what you said. I like exactly where people, they're giving service, they're working, they're in the community. I don't like the full-time jobs. The state of California tried to do that with the part-time legislators, but that didn't pass. So explain what you're talking about as far as a chartered city.
Well, in a nutshell, very basic, incorporation and charter are two different things. We are incorporated. We are not a part of LA County. We're an incorporated city. So we get the benefits of being incorporated where we don't fall under the county rule per se. And that's why we have our city council. And the city council is supposed to be protecting the city and doing what's best for the city. The charter comes into play because a lot of times you want even more autonomy than what comes with being incorporated. And a lot of that means you can have no bid contracts. You can have rule over the salaries, including your own. But we all know what happened to the city of Bell. If you don't, just Google it. It's very easy to see the corruption and the devastation that community had to suffer under because they were a charter city and they were being ruled by corrupt individuals. So we chose back 2 years ago that we did not, by 60%, the community did not want a charter city.
I remember
and
that.
So,
I remember Bell, and they tore that town up, and that was a hard-working community. They're going to be paying that price for the next century, maybe the next 50 to 100 years. Well, this has been great. I want to thank you for coming on the show. It was a little deviation from being a boating show, and we're going to get to our guests and our emails all month long from Catalina because we had a wonderful bunch of shows and great guests. I'm going to talk about Captain Stacy Creasy, the new base commander at the Coast Guard base down in L.A. Long Beach, and talk about the things the Coast Guard is going to be doing. So this is great. So, Faye, I want to thank you for coming on. Mother and grandmother, decorated Air Force veteran, and chairwoman of the Veterans Affairs Commission, VA administrative officer, and active community volunteer. Faye, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you. And I'm no longer the president of the VA Commission right now.
Okay. Well, it's a wonderful thing to have on your resume. And I know You've got a lot of support. And it really is. It's an honor to know you and to be considered, your friend. So I want to thank you for our friendship.
Thank you.
Well, that's all.
Neighbors for Faye.
Yeah. Neighbors for Faye. Neighbors for Faye. Faye Johnson for City Council in the wonderful city of Hawthorne. Well, that's all the time that we have for you today, and I hope you enjoyed our show. As always, we're so very fortunate to have such wonderful and exciting guests, and I want to thank Faye Johnson for being our guest today on our show. And let's not forget the Coasties, protecting our waters, America's lifesavers and guardians of the sea. And thanks to our sponsors for our show today, for a healthy gut, Livia One Probiotics and Raycom Radio's reliable two-way radios throughout Southern California without dry drop zones and dead batteries. Don't forget to visit us on the web at theboatinghour.com. Now on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. The Boating Hour with Captain Rick. Keep your emails coming. This is Captain Rick saying ahoy and fair winds to all.